Welcome to This Week in White Supremacy. The whole team is back. The squad is back. You know, there was a comment.
Who messed with my settings?
I don't know, brother. I mean, you know, normally that would be checked prior to us recording. But now you're checking live on the air. Anyway, I was saying, Trouble, there was a comment, you know, like people was like, yo, we like this one-on-one interview you did last week, but we want to see the whole squad.
Okay.
We want to see the whole team. You know what I'm saying? So the team is back. You know what I'm saying? People are back from their, you know, respective things they had to handle. We're assuming, Miracle, you were in New York providing some type of
I don't recall
crisis intervention with Donald Trump.
I don't know what you're talking about.
My name is Jasiri X. I'm co-founder and CEO of One Hood Media. And to my immediate right,
it's a miracle.
I really like it. I feel like we needed like a little like bass in there.
Yes.
We do a little remix.
Little bass line.
A bass line. But it's your girl, Miracle, aka Big Bus with Big
Did you just want us to play Get 'Em Sexy next time? Bow, 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 bow.
That's not booty me. Listen, I'm like, no, wrong show. Wrong show. It's your girl, Miracle. What's poppin'?
And my brother.
It's your boy, Trouble in the Last Never Like Supremacy. Next Level Shaman. You know the deal.
Come on, you already know the deal. And sir.
Surely ain't the intelligence DNA.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Off the
An inside joke.
Off the rip.
Inside joke from the top of the show. You know what I'm saying? And you're yellowed up today.
He's
all
naked.
yellow.
He's naked.
Oh, damn.
Wow.
My life is a joke.
Wow.
My life is a joke.
That's how we're getting started.
Fucking hell, man. My life is
wow. So
you know, before like yo, beforehand,
you smiled, but you smiled. That's all that matters.
Yes.
That's all that matters. Moving on.
I avoided
Moving
wearing
on.
yellow in high school for that very reason.
Oh my
You know what I mean?
God.
Like everything yellow and gold, it was just like, why are you naked?
Yes.
Why-
Yes.
How come you ain't got no clothes on?
1,000%.
Just got targeted.
Oh, it's not about you right now. We're talking
But
about me.
We're moving on because
He's targeting. This is a light skinned symbol targeting, and I don't like.
I haven't even
reject.
spoke
Well,
yet.
look,
I reject being bullied.
for those that and you might, if this might be your first
They didn't
time on the
ask.
show,
They didn't
Those are
ask.
chickens coming home to roost.
They did not ask.
Oh, wow.
The people did not ask this. I feel like
this is your
I feel like we should move on.
If you're
I feel like we're living in the past.
if you're a long
and in order to move on, you have to live in the
If you're a
future.
long-term viewer, you know MAGA Miracle.
You have to look to the
wow.
present.
Wow.
And to come together to have peace, right? We have to look to the present.
Did you just say
We
all
have to
lives
look
matter?
forward.
Oh,
we have to look
This-
forward. We have to let go of
Oh,
the past.
so Miracle.
And the wrong.
You said we should forget slavery.
And we should envision as creatives a better world, right? When we're talking about fighting for better,
Moving forward.
we have to create better, and to do that, we look forward, right? We don't have to have these conversations.
You're saying we were better with Jim Crow.
I'm
That's what you're saying.
I am saying,
saying.
and there's a better world in the
wow.
future, and we should focus there.
focus on the future.
That's where our attention should be,
did.
in the future.
I just wanted to
Maybe
ask
the
you,
president a little bit.
Can I just ask you one question?
No, you may
Because
not.
Miracle.
I do not consent.
Oh, shit. Damn.
Okay, audience.
Anyhow,
has been on the record.
You just want me to say I was
No, I wanna
wrong.
get your
No, I want you to go. I'm gonna let you have this.
I wanted to get
because it's the one time in life you get to tell a black woman that she was wrong.
Oh my
So
God.
I am going to let y'all have this for like 2 minutes.
Miracle is on fire. No,
you have 2
wanted
minutes.
to ask you.
You got a minute and 57 seconds left.
Hey, audience. So, Miracle, you know, there's been a running question on the show. Will Donald Trump be found guilty of a crime? And Miracle consistently would say no,
For years.
to the point where she would even cut me off before I could say. So,
God.
that's not what the question is. The question
Okay.
was like, when it finally happened, like when he was finally found guilty. I just want to get your reaction.
I was like, Jasiri was right. I tweeted it out.
34.
I tweeted it out.
Yes.
She did.
I gave him his props.
Yes.
And clearly it wasn't good enough because now here we are.
So,
It was funny. So I was out and about. I was I was in Georgia at a local baseball game.
yes.
And it came down and I shouted it out
Oh, shit. Oh,
in
wow.
line, and everybody.
You were at the Braves game?
I I was at a Southern baseball game, and I just shouted it out, and I almost saw a grown white man cry. I was like, he got convicted, and everybody started looking at their phones like rapidly.
Yeah.
There were some tears in a couple white men's eyes. And I was like, oops, let me go back to scrolling.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, I was shocked. I really was shocked. I was like, 34 out of 34, a clean sweep. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, he batted 1,000, man. He went to the plate and batted 1,000.
1,000. Treble, what was your reaction?
Man, so at first I was excited.
Yeah.
But then I was like, does this disqualify him from the presidency, though?
No.
That's the part when I was like,
yeah.
Okay. Well.
Not only that, but, one of the things that Safa pointed out was he wasn't even handcuffed.
Yeah.
And walked 34 felonies. And he was just allowed to walk out to court to do his press conference, to slander everybody. So it's like business as usual in the Trump world. And he was, supposedly raised a lot of money off of it as well. So, it hasn't derailed him. Would you argue, Miracle, that this is actually something that maybe have infused some type of life into his campaign? Because remember, Trump is the one saying he's being persecuted. He tweeted out that he was a political prisoner and
was never incarcerated.
And that, he was trying to raise money off of it. So is this helping his narrative of they're afraid of me and this is why they're doing this to me?
I don't think it helps his narrative. I think it helps his marketing for his internal base.
Yes.
Because he's able to say, oh my God, I almost went to jail.
Yeah.
But for everyone who's been talking about it, he hasn't faced any consequences.
No consequences.
He can travel as much as he like. He can do whatever. He wasn't arrested. He got 34 felonies. I think he may have had to surrender a passport.
But can he travel? Because, there are these number of countries that won't allow a convicted felon to travel into their country.
Yeah, he would have to write for special permission.
I mean, Canada, he's supposed to be banned for 10 years. So, Canada is not supposed to allow any felons in. And this is it doesn't even matter how minuscule the felony is. They're you cannot come into our borders. There's a bunch of places that he's supposed to be banned from. Yeah. London, UK being another one. I think their travel ban, if you're a felon, is a minimum of 5 years. It's really wild. So if he gets elected, it will be very interesting to see how that works. Yes. Because there's supposed to be no privileges, for anyone. So it'll be fun. But I do think that because international issues have been the focal point of the news media for the past 7 months, that any type of negative publicity the trial would have garnered for Trump has basically somewhere on page 17.
1,000%. Yeah.
So no one doesn't really care. It was really a waste of space and time to get him.
Yeah. It would have been front page news have not all of the things happening in the Middle East taking place and really the Biden administration's kind of botching this whole process. Trump now yesterday had to meet with a probation officer.
That's hilarious.
Is that again, is this,
he's
to me
not
it's
being
hilarious.
treated like anyone else, because today you're supposed to meet with your probation officer within 48 hours of a conviction.
Right.
They're supposed to do your housing plan, all the drug testing, all of this stuff. And for a lot of folks, you have to be stationary. Right. You cannot leave. You cannot travel.
True.
So he's doing it
the
weeks out. Yeah.
The little thing on your ankle, that little ankle bracelet. Yeah. Yeah.
So he's not being treated as a normal person.
No.
And these, even if it is, white collar crime, this is stuff that people go to jail for. I still think about Wesley Snipes, even though that was federal, getting those 2 years from the account.
Yeah. Yeah. Martha Stewart went jail.
Lil' Kim, Queen Bee. So he still gets to be treated differently.
Did Bernie Madoff do time?
Yes.
Okay.
I think he was the only one. That suffered any type of consequences.
Yeah.
For that.
Did he in the Clink Clink?
Oh, I don't know.
I do think he
did. He? Oh,
yeah. I think so too.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. So Trump also was still on the campaign trail.
Yeah.
He had a rally in Las Vegas. What they said was that it's like heat wave happening. So it was like super hot. It was outside. I don't know what happened, but so Trump was speaking there about how he relates to his fans / cults members / constituency. Did you want to play that?
By the way, isn't that breeze nice? Do you feel the breeze? Because I don't want anybody going on me. We need every voter. I don't care about you. I just want your vote. I don't care. See, now the press will take that and they'll say he said a horrible thing.
He said the truth. Like,
he's speaking to the power.
It saddens me. But I don't want to say it saddens me because they're white supremacists. Who gives a fuck? But part of me is like, damn, you actually think this dude cares? Like, they think Trump cares about them. Like, they think that Trump is like some ride or die for them and their rights.
Yeah, no.
And he literally does not care about you at all.
He doesn't care about anybody.
He doesn't care about them. He just doesn't hate them. Like, he hates the black and brown people. He can't.
Wow.
Great point.
Wow. Wow.
The one thing that kind of irritated me about this whole situation was, as someone who has allegedly been accused of crimes in the past and been incarcerated.
Yes.
I remember how like my life was derailed for, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
When I was 17. And I think like the first thing I thought about when he was convicted, I was like, can all the man them that are convicted felons vote now? Right. And that was one of the things right there is like, when can we, reevaluate this whole system of fairness for felons? Like, if you can have a felon run for president, why can't you have a felon vote for a president?
Well, I mean, I think that's the question in a lot of places. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is that, and I think in Pennsylvania you can, right? As long as
Pennsylvania and New York State, right?
Yeah. There are places. I think Florida, right?
Florida, no, because Florida was saying he would have to. They would waive him in and expedite the process because you're supposed to have your time completed.
Oh,
and all that, and then apply. Virginia just got rid of theirs, and so it is this conversation.
Will this create like a different?
Probably not.
If I were to be someone who would be consulting the Republican Party, I would have said, like, this is your perfect moment to take on criminal justice reform, substantive criminal justice reform, if you were trying to get a more multicultural voting coalition. But they're too stupid and racist to do so.
But would to Trump, would him and his base say that his desire to pardon the January 6ers and him referring to the January 6ers as hostages, right? That would be
no,
their
because that's
version
on camera. That's on camera.
Well, I'm saying that's his version of criminal justice reform, is that I'm going to make sure these people that went and rioted
domestic terrorism
for me,
is no longer.
We're talking about casting a wider net and expanding and moving the Republican. He needs votes, right?
According to 50 Cent, Miracle, black people find Trump more relatable now because he has RICO charges like black people have RICO charges.
I mean, 50 Cent is ridiculous, and the fact that he literally said someone getting sexually assaulted was just hard flirting because the recipient was a man. It just shows how ignorant and stupid 50 Cent is, and I don't want no smoke because 50 be going below the belt.
50 will probably try to attack us.
But I think about, we keep having these conversations of like these electoral parties are stuck and it's either going to be more racist or not. So how do you move beyond this flashpan bigotry? This is what like political scientists and strategists like pray for. It's something to like move people beyond. And this could be that thing. Okay, look, now we did not know people who were incarcerated could not vote. Why can't they vote? Oh, felon disenfranchisement. What is felon disenfranchisement? Oh my God, when slavery was over, we decided to incarcerate black men so they couldn't vote. Okay, so now let's have this conversation. We don't agree with CRT, but now that we know this is happening, we can change it. We have supermajorities in Georgia, Tennessee, Virginia, places where this is happening. We need these votes, then it could happen. But people don't think like that. But
could the Democrats say, just like you said, because I'm just saying.
Democrats don't want to win. Democrats are too busy throwing parties to be like, we got this in the bag to win. Like, no, I don't think anyone is really trying to win in 2024.
It doesn't seem like
it literally does not. There's no messaging. They have everybody that's arguing on social media.
Yes.
I just don't get it. Like we have the most money in electoral politics than we've ever had before.
True.
To not have a clear path to victory or something for people to fight for, this doesn't make sense.
It is weird. However, Miracle. Apparently, Trump isn't the only person that was charged with the. I think to me, this is why, like, and again, like, Trump knows. And Trump is comfortable with people that worship him. So, like, he's not going to really take that level of advice, because that would mean that he would have to, like, listen to somebody and, like, follow somebody else's piece, right? He's interested in, like, pure, unadulterated submission to him and his ego. And so that's why he brings out a Marjorie Taylor Greene who said something as ridiculous as this.
The fact that, like, she represents Georgia.
I didn't even realize
The Democrats and the fake news media want to constantly talk about, President Trump is a convicted felon.
Let's call it a fact.
Well, you want to know something? The man that I worship is also a convicted felon.
Donald Trump, we know. Yeah, we know. Donald Trump.
And he was murdered on a Roman cross.
Was that a felony back then?
That bad built, bleach blonde, bush body blasphemy.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
okay.
Equating Trump and Jesus in it, like, the Republicans actually believe that they're on the same level, because at the Republican convention in 2019, they made a golden Trump statue.
Gold statue, yes.
That was made in Mexico.
Yes. I mean, but the Trump hats and t-shirts are made in China. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's just... again, it's this level of ridiculousness, and it's that thing of, like, you're worshiping somebody who literally, why was he convicted of a felony? Because he had an affair with a porn star.
Not just one felony.
I know. Why was he convicted of 34 felonies?
Yeah.
Because he had, an affair with a porn star, and all, so none of that matters, right, to them. Right. Mm-hmm. He's being persecuted. And then when you say, well, so what? He had an affair, but I thought he was your Jesus. Like,
Trump Jesus.
Is he your Jesus?
Trump Jesus is crazy.
NFL. Well, they call him Cheeto Jesus, right?
Yeah.
Or Orange Jesus.
Cheeto Christ.
Yeah, Cheeto Christ, Orange Jesus. I mean, this is their kind of. So I think this is why it's hard to get beyond, because to me, this is, again, it's obvious white supremacy. You have something?
Yeah. Psychologically, it's kind of. And I hate to say this, I hate to admit this, but what Trump does with his following is kind of genius psychologically, because he has his followers in a position where they want his love and approval so much that they're willing to, like, throw away their morality for him.
It's a cult.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's a cult. Essentially.
Yeah.
He's like,
throw away common sense. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck common sense. Facts. We don't need that.
You know
Truth.
what I'm saying?
What?
To a point
What are
where
you
he
talking
can
about?
literally say in the video prior,
Yes.
I don't care about you. I just
Yes.
want your vote.
Yes.
And they'll cheer for that shit.
1,000%.
And they're like, oh yeah, we fuck with Trump even more now. He's so honest.
1,000%.
It's crazy.
It's like it needs a psychological study. Like, can somebody... Right.
Trumpism, like, put that in the DSM-5.
Yeah.
Actually, DSM-7, you know what I mean?
And to the point where people literally risk their freedom
Yeah.
to try to harm, beat up police. Like you said, all of these things that they say they stood for, threw all of that out the window to try to storm the Capitol, to try to keep this man in the White House. People don't care if he's talking about staying another term. It's like, democracy be damned, the Constitution be damned. This is our champion, and we want him to win regardless of whom or what. And it was like, at that point, it's like, oh, wow. They're cheating the vote. It's like, oh, all these things that you say you supposedly stand for, but then it's like the Biden crime family? Because the
like,
dude...
literally everybody in Trump's cabinet
Yes,
including him.
Yes, all
are
have
convicted
felonies.
felons.
All have felonies.
Everybody.
And like
he actually has a legitimate criminal enterprise.
He has a criminal enterprise.
Yes.
He has like Steve Bannon got to go to jail in July.
On the 1st of July, he has to report to prison.
Another felon. You know what I'm saying? But like,
and these are not the type of felons that I say I like for my mugshot miracle reputation. I just want to point that. I just. That's how it is.
I wish we had the Akon convict.
Locked up. Oh, let me out.
You know, some call that loyalty and friendship.
Yes, that is loyalty. That's both.
But I think it's like really, really funny because if anybody grew up in a really religious home, you know, you were always taught like, you know, no false idols, no graven images.
Yes, right.
These were the things that were like drilled down into you when you were talking about particularly Christianity. And so to see people worship like somebody with this like Christo like fascism movement is like, it's really weird to watch because I know like I would have been like put in time out by my religious teachers.
Absolutely.
If I was like, Trump is just like Jesus or anybody is just like Jesus.
Right,
Things like you would never, like in Christianity, you could never compare anyone to Jesus.
And it's not, and again, like we've said this time and time again on here, this is not Christianity, this is white supremacy. Like they worship white supremacy.
Yes,
and then Trump just happens to be their soup du jour idol.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Because
like
he can get, like he's getting away. He has the power that they all want.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he's able to get away with all of these things and these crimes that they want to as well.
What was Hitler's religious affiliation?
I don't think
that's a great question.
I don't believe he had one. I think he was like secular, but it was very, when he died, a lot of people, you know, took their lives and their families' lives because they were like, they didn't want to be in a world without him in it. So I'm wondering like what ends up happening if and when Trump dies, right? Like, are people going to do the same thing or like?
Yes,
because nobody really
like the Heaven's Gate cult.
You know,
are they selling tickets to that? Because I will buy 7.
Yeah.
You're like, do you want to leave?
Just want a whole row to lay down and
I just watch.
Comfortable.
Like, man, this is great.
I mean, it is, and I think the broader question is also, you remember Trump said, you know, if he goes to jail, he was like, oh, I wouldn't mind going to jail, but I don't think the public will mind.
Yeah.
And so he's already like
wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Right. He's already seeding like, yo, a violent outcome.
I don't think they'll do anything. And the only reason why is when he got convicted, nobody was really doing anything. There was like, I think people are like, I think they're like, no, do we really want to do that?
I seen some people crying. They was like,
but they didn't run up in the courtroom and free him.
No.
Like, I just don't think he's going to go to jail. I
don't either.
I don't know if I even want him to go to jail.
I want him to go to jail.
Like,
I do.
Even if he goes to jail, he's not going to Rikers.
He's gonna be like Escobar. Like he'll come and go as he pleases.
The reason I want him to go to jail, Miracle, is because there's no orange makeup in jail. Like
he cares, right?
Yeah, he'd be in Rikers.
But then we would see Trump how he really is. Right, it's no makeup, there's no hair designers there. Like you'll see Trump how he. I mean, maybe
if Trump if you put Trump on Rikers, right? Not that I have any experience on Rikers.
He's gonna have his own pod.
Absolutely.
He would have it like Escape from L.A., like this, or Escape from New York, like Snake Plissken level, like you know what I mean? Like he would be in there, but commissary for everybody.
Oh, of course.
Like he would turn that place inside out, and I think
possibly. Maybe.
I think
that man would be in a pod by himself.
He would be by himself.
Probably on the floor by himself.
Yeah, but I mean, he would
be that like him.
Yeah,
with
true.
all the
He would
food,
get
lobster dinners.
Yeah,
Nobody.
he'd be like Goodfellas. He'd be in there cooking meals and having meals cooked for him. I mean, it's Donald Trump.
We would have never.
Those guards love him.
We would have never seen a clean prisoner jail cell like we would see where he would be in there.
Yeah, no, that's a fact.
There'd be like a whole new wing we didn't even know existed.
Now, this may be a boon for Biden.
A boon?
What?
A boon.
What the hell is that?
Like a
boom,
like a boon.
uplifting.
Like
BOONE?
I don't know what it is, bro. You can Google it right on your
boon.
calendar.
I've never
a
heard
boon
that.
is like
uplifting.
Uplifting, like you, because Biden, according to a poll, a CBS poll, more than half of Biden supporters say the main reason they're backing Biden is to oppose Donald Trump.
I've never heard this before. Benefit favor, especially one that is given in answer to request.
Look at you learning.
I literally just did that.
Look at you learning. Look at you learning. Learning vocabulary.
Never heard
in
that
real
before.
time.
That's
Yes.
what happens when you think you know all the words because you're so cultured.
I never said that. You're the one that always says that.
He is the first one to try to correct you when you mispronounce something.
Spell it.
Yeah, right,
Fuck
right,
you,
right.
nigga.
right,
No,
right.
you spell it.
I can't spell it. I don't even know how to read.
Rude.
So,
And then he'd be like, I didn't go to university, but I know that word and you don't.
So, Miracle.
Okay.
54% of likely Biden voters are planning to vote for him because they're not voting for him
Because they had nothing to vote for.
They're voting against Trump. Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I said in 2020.
Because
Yes,
they
me
have
too.
nothing to vote for.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is why they're voting against
Miracle,
something.
this man just had a Juneteenth concert.
Serious.
I bet you. I mean, I bet you there was a lot of chicken.
For real.
I mean, what has Biden been doing? Popping up at barbecues, eating chicken with black people. So I guarantee you, two things happen at this
Or there
concert.
was no food because a lot of times these places have no food and it makes it even worse.
Yes.
But
again,
he had watermelon
Google
there.
it. Google the Juneteenth meal.
Yeah, Biden had a concert, a Juneteenth concert.
What was it called?
He had it on the White House lawn, the White House Juneteenth concert. Billy Porter was there. And I think like Raheem Devon maybe performed. Kirk Franklin performed. You know what I'm saying?
Of course he did.
He said, according to his quote, the White House lawns.
GP, are you with me? Oh yeah, we got Biden. We ain't going nowhere. GP, are you with me?
Biden said the White House lawns never seen anything like this before.
Since the niggas that built it.
Niggas, yes. Oh shit.
He's like, yeah, I'm gonna bring you niggas back one way or another.
Oh shit.
So again, Juneteenth. I mean, you're saying this doesn't resonate or won't resonate?
Why do you keep I just feel like you keep trying to
I'm
He
sorry.
had Patti LaBelle there.
Patti
I
LaBelle,
keep saying, I'm trying to allow people to have their things that
Got you.
whatever.
Got you.
But he's like, Miracle, just tell everybody how much you hate.
No.
I think it's always good for people to have representation, and
Yes.
I love Black joy
Yes.
and Black music and Black gatherings.
Yeah.
So if people if people being on the White House lawn makes them happy, I think they should have that. I don't know if there was any policy announced. I don't know if there was any pardons announced.
there wasn't.
I don't know if he talks about anything of substance
Kurt Franklin
while
and
he
Kamala
was
Harris
there.
danced together.
I do that in my backyard all the time. A party is a party. But I get it. And I think that given the history of how racist the White House is, and the fact that I do believe slaves did build the White House.
They did. That's a fact.
So I think there is a thing about reclaiming spaces that were meant for your destruction. So I hope the Black people who went there had a good time. But yeah, so that's what I have.
But on the juxtaposition, I think
shout out to Obama for getting Juneteenth and Black people
1,000%,
at the White House.
But I think if you juxtapose, here's the Biden with a Juneteenth White House conference.
I really wish he wasn't there because I feel like Juneteenth should not be for the people. And I know that
Biden wasn't there.
I know that our inside stuff is now outside.
Yes.
But I kind of want Juneteenth to be for only Black people.
Okay, got you. So what I'm saying is so you got Biden hosting a Juneteenth concert. On the other side, you have Trump's Black
if he has a
acolytes.
Juneteenth concert, I'm gonna die laughing.
I mean, again, he has a black. What do you call them?
The Blacks for Trump.
Manservants?
I meant the person that speaks for the
spokespeople.
Yeah. They are, man. Wildly enough, all of the Black people that speak for Trump are like manservants. You know what I mean? So you have Byron Daniels, who is one of the Trump, spokespeople, saying that we had it better. And this is Tim Scott has said this before too. We had it better under Jim Crow. And so I think you see,
You know what I didn't like?
Shut up.
I didn't like freedom of choice. I didn't like not knowing what cotton I was going to pick today. I didn't like Massa not telling me how to put my shoes on.
Doesn't that feel weird when he doesn't? He like when he talks.
Don't do that.
Doesn't. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Remington.
Don't do that.
I'm talking to Remington.
Don't do. You trying to take Kendrick route? See.
Talking to the other.
I feel like sometimes acting isn't acting.
Oh shit. Oh wow. But again, it is.
I hate you and everything you stand.
Wow.
For. I hope you stub your big toe today.
Smoke.
You know it.
Coming. So, but again, I mean, doesn't that? I mean, obviously, and there was a clip with him on Joy Reid, and I don't know. We don't have to play it. Where Joy Reid said to him, like, okay, in Jim Crow, like, you have a white wife. Joy Reid was like, your white wife is white.
And she smell like lemon scented pledge. White woman just a joy to be around, Robert. She smell like lemon scented pledge.
But clearly, he would not have been able
large up to anybody that gets that reference.
That was from a show called The Boondocks.
Yes.
Clearly.
He goes like 1,000 with these references.
Clearly, he would not have been able to have this relationship under Jim Crow. So it is weird to say, like, the black family, what, he would have had it?
No.
It seems weird to say, like, oh, but the black family was more together then. But, like, we were.
While he's married to a white woman.
Right. Yeah, where's your
The black family he didn't even want.
Oh my God.
I just want to say that a lot of conservatives like to say, oh my gosh, during Jim Crow, before, the social contract, black families were together, right?
Yes.
No, black families were being torn apart.
Yes.
Since the beginning of this country. I do, again, think Republicans try to downplay race and racism because they want to appease the white candidates they're trying to run with and raise money for.
Yes.
There is a better conversation to talk about the ways in which social policies have impacted our communities and how we change these policies so they're no longer detrimental to our communities.
Absolutely.
Redlining, horrible.
Yes.
But we're in the situation where we have just seen with the Fearless Fund that we can't even correct the harms and dangers of things like redlining that has impacted our communities. That is the conversations that I think conservatives should be having.
Yes.
Instead of trying to romance these days of old where we were literally murdered for walking outside, where we had land being taken away, where we had people being incarcerated at some of the highest rates in the world. On top of that, where we had black men who were literally being murdered. So to go back and say we had it better under Jim Crow does not make any type of sense culturally or contextually.
But I think for him, what he wants, it's almost like what you're saying is like that we were better as black people when these white men were in charge. And we weren't in any position to make a decision for ourselves, because really that's what Trump represents.
That's also what Thomas said when in his legal writings. These people are wild.
Yeah, and it's like Trump basically represents like the return of like all white people, because remember, love or hate her. I mean, Joe Biden does have a black VP, a black and Indian VP in Kamala Harris. He did elect nominated the first black woman to the Supreme Court. And he's put a lot of federal judges in place that had a lot more diversity of color than when Trump was president. So Trump represents white supremacists on the Supreme Court. Trump represents all these white judges in place. Trump represents a party that is based and steeped in white supremacy. And so here's this black man saying, we're actually really telling black people, like, we're better off when when Massa is running everything and running this on. We don't have to make the decisions as to like what shoes to put on. We're better off with that. And that it's fascinating to see that. And I guess for his deference or servitude, he gets a white woman as a.
But he's still not picked as the VP running mate, right?
I mean, he might be.
I honestly don't know.
He might be.
But
we don't know yet, because right now it's funny because they were talking about they were vetting the VPs, and one of the vetting questions was, have you committed a crime? Nigga, have you, nigga?
Yeah, right, yeah.
You asking me? I did 50. Like,
we don't want no snitches. That's why. Yeah, that's why it is. Like, yo, they be like, yo, listen, if you ain't riding, we ain't having you down with us. But no, I think it's interesting when you have these Tim Scotts and these Byron Donalds these people like that, because the question, I think for me, it's when and if another insurrection happens, because, we're really just kind of waiting on the next big incident.
Yes.
Do you think you're going to be safe? Like, they were ready to kill Mike Pence.
Yeah.
So what makes you think that, like, all of this shoe shining and shit that you're doing is going to protect you? And then furthermore, it's like, you're going to have black children, whether you want to admit that or not.
True.
Like, what do you see in them?
Yeah.
Like, how do you look at yourself in the mirror and what do you see? And then, like, what type of lifestyle do you want for your children?
That's a great question, because, if like Candace Owens has a daughter, like, they not seeing no black hairstylists. I mean, they gonna be all fucked up. You know what I'm saying?
Edges,
you know what I'm saying? So it is weird. It's almost like when you hate yourself and then you have a representation of yourself.
Right.
Like, then how are you going to treat this child? Like, if Candace Owens has a daughter and she wants to identify as black or have a black experience.
I know have a black.
I think she has a son.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
But even then, so it's like, how are you going to raise this black man? Like, are you going to tell him?
Walker's children?
I mean, probably. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's going to be fascinating. And like you said, when they experience systemic racism and white supremacy, like, what are you going to tell them?
Stuff that Candace Owens got that money from?
1,000%.
Yeah, I think what ends up happening is they'll be like, oh, it didn't happen because you're black. It happened because those black people over there did something wrong. So you have to hate those black people over there.
They made your life more difficult because they don't know how to act.
Yeah. Niggas over there. Don't trust them new niggas over there.
I did want to say one thing, because I see a lot of times people talk about, Jim Crow and black families. And I think it's really important to remind people that Rosewood exists, Tulsa exists.
Right.
Yeah.
There were hundreds of massacres and attacks on black families and black communities during Jim Crow, particularly between 1900s and the 1960s. So when we're talking about black families and black communities, and we need to go back to this time period, we also have to be very honest that we were not living in a kumbaya situation. We didn't have
1,000%
better education rates, better employment rates, better communities, because they were consistently being attacked and destroyed. And so when we're talking about whether it is how we create families, how we create wealth, how we engage capitalism, how we own land, we have to understand that black farmers still today do not have the reparations they were deserved and owed, because the government took their land away from them.
Absolutely.
The government gave them seeds that could not grow on their land. The government poisoned their land because they didn't want black people in charge of the land. So when we're talking about how to engage government, how to talk about black people and black communities, I think we kind of got to be a little more honest and a little more truthful about what we are facing then and what we are facing now. Because it doesn't make sense to me for any black person worth any type of salt to have anything good to say about Jim Crow.
Right. And it's really, it's fascinating, because it reminds me of, in the documentary, The Rebellious Life of Rosa Parks, how she would sit on her porch with her grandfather, and he had to have a shotgun to keep white people from, like, burning down their homes. Like, this was like a real experience for a lot of black people in the South. So it's like the families kept together so we can, like, defend ourselves against this white supremacy, though, this idea. So it's like, is that what you want? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's super fascinating. But we do have breaking news. Breaking news. Are y'all ready? Hunter Biden found guilty on all 3 felony gun charges.
I know my father, when he was alive, suffered from addiction disorder.
Yes.
So when the comments came out about how he would wake up and smoke crack every day, and someone said, God forbid somebody have a hobby, I was dying laughing.
Wow.
And they were like, people just have a routine and now you want to get mad at them.
Yeah.
It cracked me up.
Wow.
But of course, he was someone who had a gun, should not have.
Yes.
And now is going to be facing a mandatory 5 years, I believe.
Yeah.
Right. And it said
federal gun, mandatory 5.
It said he lied. Right. He checked the box that said he checked no on a federal gun purchase, questioning whether he unlawfully used or was addicted to narcotics and other drugs. Clearly, he was addicted to narcotics and other drugs. And so by checking no, that is a felony.
Isn't that kind of like a self-diagnosis? Like I can stop anytime I want.
That's also why, oh my gosh, when Philando Castile was murdered,
yes,
and because he was smoking weed, people were like, oh, he wasn't a legal gun owner. That's why the NRA didn't come out and advocate for him. And again, this is a racist law.
Yes. Yeah.
That has been used and weaponized for particularly black men who are impacted by the crack epidemic in the 80s and 90s with these tough on crime incarceration bills that go back to
Joe Biden. That's wild. This is a full circle moment.
A literal full circle moment.
To incarcerate black people now have ensnared your own son. And it's crazy. Who was smoking crack cocaine? And that's wild. Like this nigga was calling us all kinds of super predators, and they changed the laws around crack cocaine, and your own son gets addicted to crack cocaine. That is crazy. It's like a TV show.
Joe Biden on the cream team. Crack rules everything around me.
I think this is what happens when you don't have empathy and you don't realize that one day you can be impacted by the policies you create.
Wow.
I think it's very important. And a lot of people think that I live in this like theoretical world, but I understand like the policies that we create can either help, heal, or harm. And I am tired of creating policies that always are harming people first.
Does this mean that Hunter Biden is paying for the sins of the father?
I mean, it's kind of fascinating.
He's paying for his own sins.
Yeah, and it says Hunter Biden faces a maximum of 25 years in prison and $750,000 in fines.
I mean, the fines he'll be able to take care of.
It says, however, first-time offenders are rarely given the maximum penalty. His father said he would not pardon his son if convicted. You know what I'm saying? So he got to do the time. So it'll be interesting to see. And it says he's facing a separate charge for failing to pay $1.5 million in taxes and filing false returns, or he can go to trial there. So
didn't Trump pardon his family?
You best look. You think of this one of Trump's? Well, I don't know. Maybe Don Jr. He might let that.
Yeah, I'm about to say undesirable.
I don't think he likes his sons. I think he only likes Ivanka.
Me too. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah,
I agree.
He's like, my sons are idiots.
He would pardon. I mean, he's talking about pardoning January 6 people. You know what I'm saying? However, but we have another.
Do you think Biden would pardon Trump? And I had asked this before years ago. I honestly think he will. I think Biden will pardon Trump.
So but why though?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he?
Because he believes in what
Trump is a criminal. Like, yeah, I mean, maybe.
Because I mean, if Biden goes for this whole traditionalist aspect that we can't have, the office of the presidency tarnished by felony convictions or anything like that, Biden could go on this whole thing with like restoring American values.
I don't think he would. I think that if he said that, or if people felt like that way, that'd just be another reason not to vote for him. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so maybe he does it after he gets elected.
No, I'm just saying, if he was going to do that, that's another reason. So I think if you asked him, he would say no.
Of course.
Because why would he do that?
But I'm sure they're probably proffering that.
That would be a thing. That would be one of these, if he said that, like he had to drop out of the race.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that would be one of those things. Now we have our own, I guess, semi controversy around an elected official that's been brewing for a while in our own backyard. We have a senator who at one time positioned himself as like a progressive defender in John Fetterman. Remember, it was Fetterman who, with his hoodies and his, I'll have a drink and beer with you type of attitude, became, and, he ran against Dr. Oz. For the record, we supported him because he wasn't Dr. Oz, you know what I'm saying? And like, he became senator. And remember, he almost lost the race because he had this stroke. He decided to stay in the race. He had a lot of challenges. He had a lot of challenges during the race.
You just keep throwing me these alley-oops, bro, but I'm not taking them.
Good. So now he had a conversation with, and so particularly like, he's came out recently, John Fetterman's came out recently, he said he's not a progressive, that he's just a Democrat. And, he's taking this very, very, hard line on Israel, you know what I'm saying, where Israel can do no wrong. And he went on the Bill Maher show.
Who's also just an avid white supremacist.
1,000%.
Islamophobic,
xenophobic,
Muslims,
just like a fucking sack of shit human being.
Disrespected black people.
Smug son of a bitch.
Yes.
He's a very punchable face.
Said the N-word, everything, right?
Yeah.
He said that his near-death experience freed him to speak out, and says that, like, I guess as he was going through this near-death experience, the progressivism left his body.
Oh.
And you know, the first comment to this Fox News story was by somebody that said, quote, "Brain damage made me conservative. Thank you, Fox News."
No, so like so the progressivism didn't leave his body. The need to care about people who were white left his body.
Who weren't white.
Yes.
Yeah, true.
Fetterman was someone who ran as a progressive.
Yeah.
He also ran after a black jogger with a shotgun too.
Because it was something that was hip, that was new, that was counterculture, and it gave him name recognition.
It did.
The minute he had the stroke and he became someone who needed advocacy, he resented that and threw away all the people who needed advocating for and decided to take up a mantle of white supremacy and just lean into it. Progressivism never left anyone. What we have demanded is life and love and care and housing and opportunities for all people. And that has always been our red line. And he just decided that there are people he didn't want to fight for. And he resented and was angered that he was being pushed and asked and requested and begged to fight for people he never considered human to begin in the first place. And this idea that we have changed, that we have been bad allies is ridiculous because our red line has never changed. We've always said that state violence, state sponsored terrorism, police violence, police surveillance is never okay. And so instead of saying, okay, well, someone I believe in is now clinging to state violence as a means of protection, how can we interrogate and have these conversations about how to move forward? He was like, nah, I'm not doing anything. I've picked a side. I don't really want to talk to you. I don't want to fight for these things. And it hasn't just been what's going on in Palestine and Israel. It's also been what's happening at the border. It's also been about immigration and support and disability. We talk about like mental health, but he has not fought to change any of the laws around mental health. He has not introduced legislation that makes mental health treatment affordable. He has not demanded that UPMC provide and cover mental health supports up and down the ballot for whether people who are part-time or full-time. He has not gone down to these conservative states and demand they opt into Medicaid and Medicare. He hasn't really done anything. What he has been is someone who is able to make himself the center of progressive movements, the center of queer movements, the center of the cannabis movement, not uplifting people who are impacted and then turn around and use his personality and his status to use that to weaponize and be like, oh, if you are disrespectful to me, I may not vote on this way, or I may change my vote on this.
You know what that kind of sounds like?
Whiteness.
Well, not only that, but it also sounds like kind of the strategy of this famous socialist leader.
What leader is that?
We're not having that conversation. We're not having that conversation. But I just think it is.
Doesn't
I'll be very frank.
Sound very similar.
And I'm be very frank because when he was running, Breitbart put out an article and basically was like, Fetterman talks to pro police killing organization. That was us.
Yes.
And there was conversations that, if he loses, it is going to be because of us. Yeah. And
because we had a key camp on our show.
Maybe we shouldn't have a conversation with these organizations. Let me be very frank. And for me, when you are criticized, that is a moment to have critique. That is a moment to have conversations. That is a moment to engage. And when people at the first critique throw away communities, throw away advocates, throw away people who had literally fought for him, who were literally his speakers when he could not speak.
Look at who he married.
No, first, listen, his wife, we love Giselle up and down.
Yes,
like,
but she was an undocumented person,
and
she's a brown person.
Gets a lot, and she gets a lot of hate that she should not have. And again, my fear is to marry someone who just,
embarrasses you.
Right.
Yeah.
And And so I have a lot of love and support and empathy for her because she is someone who's in a very hard situation.
Absolutely.
And she has
does a lot of good for Pittsburgh. Yeah.
She has advocated for so many people. And I do think even just to understand how she is being targeted and the fact that he could not come out and have a better message makes it even worse. And I think because so many people love her down, that this has been a hard conversation and a hard way to engage and hold people accountable. Yeah. But I think he does this intentionally and he thinks it's funny. And what we are saying is our friends and loved ones are dying. Our friends and loved ones are trying to get into this country. People who are at the border, people who need support. We had ideas. You need to put more people in immigration court, put more people processing these applications, set up things, get rid of corruption, streamline stuff, put stuff online, modernize our system. Yeah. All these things we've talked about, it hasn't happened. And so that is why a lot of the pain and anger is coming from. But I think that he just likes the attention. And at this point, the attention he's getting is being stacked upon dead Black and brown people. Yeah, and we have a reason to be angry, hurt, upset, and betrayed.
Right. And the attention that he's getting is from Fox News, right? Yeah. He's being lauded now by these right-wing, the same ones that laughed at him when he had a stroke, the same ones that wanted him to die, that mocked and memed him, the same ones that have also attacked his wife because she was undocumented, right? Yeah. And attacked his family. But this is, to me, this is the very reason why people don't want to vote. Because they believe, like, it's like you told us one thing.
And then did a complete 180 on everything you campaigned on.
You dressed up as this progressive that stood for these
literally dressed
values.
up.
Literally. Literally dressed up.
You were in cosplay as a progressive.
1,000%.
And you are now making everybody that supported you eat their fucking words. Yeah. And now we all, like you said, I'm sorry to cut you off, but now it's like you pardon people and you ran on these things that are it was just pomp and circumstance. You literally just did performative action to obtain votes from people. Yes. And you showed everybody your true colors.
Yes.
On Fox News of all platforms.
Absolutely.
You took the most alt-right stance. Right. While masquerading as a Democrat, not a progressive anymore, as a Democrat, as you like to be called. And just shitted on your entire constituency. And in the conversations that I don't know what you have with your family, but like, how do you view your family now? How do you view the people that support you?
Right. Well, I mean, again, I think like Miracle said, disposable. And we know people personally that were disposed of along the way to him becoming a senator.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like Miracle said, that put their reputations and that put time and energy into making sure he got elected. Mm-hmm. And so like to me, Miracle said it best. When you see somebody willing to do that, it shows like what type of person that you are.
Absolutely.
And it shows what type of leader that you will be.
I think because people forget where he comes from.
Well, again,
people forget that he's a trust fund kid, that he's he's actually no different than a Hunter Biden or no different than one of the Trump children, no different than one of the Bush children.
He created a narrative. And again, you could call that genius, right? He created his narrative coming into Braddock.
Like he's some everyman.
Tattooing people, this person died, I'm going to tattoo your name on my arm, and
we do that shit.
He but as this white guy, who went to Harvard or wherever he went to school with, and he wrote that narrative of kind of like you said, this everyman, this somebody that
real Trojan horse.
Yeah, unite all of these parties. He wrote that to become senator, and now it's like, now that I'm senator, what's the next step? Right. And so to me, I honestly think this is John Fetterman attempting to pivot and put himself in a place where he thinks he could be good president.
I was just about to say, it's
like, okay, well now, if I'm trying to reach the masses of I can't be like a progressive. Governor. You know what I'm saying? No, this is beyond. Because you're a senator already. So a senator 6 years. This is him, to me, pivoting and trying to put him in a position where he's going to run for president. He thinks he's trying to connect with people that he think he can raise a lot of money from. And the question is, like, will he even remain a Democrat? I think at this point, when when all the people you're engaging are these kind of far right folks, will he stay a Democrat? Will he run as a Republican? You know what I'm saying? Like where will he go? But to me, he is that politician that will do and say anything to get elected, to get votes, to stay in office. And he is the very reason that it makes it difficult for us to encourage people to vote and put somebody in office. Like, this is the thing. As a voter, we voted for you because you told us you were progressive. So of course, we as voters want to hold you to the very things that you told us you would do. That's what we're supposed to do as voters. So why would we be crazy to say, well, hey, you ran as a progressive, you ran this, and we want to hold you to that? That's not us being children, us being disrespectful. That's us trying to hold you to what you told. Nigga, you told us this.
Right.
You told us this is how you were.
Maybe he forgot.
Yeah.
And I think that there's also
it left his body.
It left his
So maybe it left his body because his memories are gone. I don't know.
And before I turn over to Trouble, I also want to say there's also a conversation that we have to have as Black leaders and organizers about what we're willing to put up with.
Yes.
Because a lot of times we are threatened into silence and complicity by saying, oh, if you speak out or if you do this, you know, the rest of the world will fail. Like when things were happening, it was like, if he loses, Oz wins, and then it's going to be your fault. And all of this, you know, we won't have health care, we won't have abortion, we won't have all these things, things that we technically don't have now. But I think we also have to figure out what is the price we're willing to pay for our communities and what are our demands for these elected officials, because we get threatened a lot.
We do.
And we get forced into silence or forced to having private conversations. Yeah. And we don't always get the policy demands. I will say Shapiro was a person that we had substantive disagreement, political policy disagreements about. And he said, you know what? I don't get it. I don't have your experience. You don't have mine, but I am going to trust what you're saying is what your community needs. Right. You know, for some things, and we've gotten like massive investments in like Black maternal health. Right. And we've gotten massive investments in housing. Right. And even though we don't agree on education, he was putting massive investments in education, right? Yeah, so there's all these things where there is politicians who even say like we're not always aligned, of course, but I understand there's something that your community needs, and I'm going to try to do what I can to show up and advocate. And if I don't know it, I'm going to put people in the room who know what they're doing, and I'm going to trust that they're doing it. Yeah. And for some reason, Fetterman even though he claimed to be a progressive, hasn't done that. No. You know, I don't think Shapiro ever said he was a progressive, right? No, he never has. I don't think he said he was an abolitionist. No. But he is still allow people to push for policies and engage and have those conversations and those hearings. And I think that is the difference, because when we're talking about like voting and what should we vote for and who should we vote for and how should we be able to use our vote to have accountability for our communities, I think that is what we have to start to look at, is like who is showing up, and outside of who is showing up, who's fighting to increase and support the people who are impacted. And it's not an easy battle. I know someone was like, Miracle, voting for Fetterman was the one vote that I will regret the rest of my life. Yeah. And the only thing I tell people is nobody who ran for Senate has come out for a ceasefire. No, even the Oz, nobody who ran for Senate has gave any type of indicator that they would have navigated this differently. And that to me is our saving grace, but also our clarion call that we have to get better people in office. 1000%. As we work to change this system, a part of us is to get people like Summer Lee in office who are fighting and who are engaging and who won't just give into this military industrial complex that defaults to death whenever there's an issue.
Absolutely. So before I come to you, Trevor, I want to say Mehdi Hassan said, I don't think I've ever misjudged any politician as badly as I misjudged Fetterman. I was even one of those people who defended Fetterman against a torrent of right-wing attacks after he had his stroke, and yet Fetterman is now using that stroke to justify going full right-wing. You know, do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, so this is like a note to the community for around like weakness is one of those things that can be used to strengthen yourself, right? Yes. It could be used to strengthen yourself in community, used to strengthen yourself like internally. And when you use a crutch, all you're doing is hindering what could have been a strength. Yes. And what we saw with John Fetterman is once he was reminded of his weakness as a human being, he used white supremacy culture as a crutch. And I feel like this should be our message to show us that, like, when we opt into white supremacy culture, all we're doing is using a crutch for what could be, you know, us embracing the weakness in our humanity and building community.
Right.
And that white supremacy as a crutch is not sustainable at all.
Yeah.
As we can see just from our opinions on the show,
Right.
him using white supremacy as a crutch has lost him a large portion of his community.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of the people that backed and supported him are now like, why did we do that? They regret it.
It is wild that, like, when he had a stroke, like, all, like, to basically all of these, like, black and brown people that came out to defend you. And it's like, they're the very people that you're like, you look like, dismiss them, you know, the people, and you're now like putting, you know, you're reaching out to the very people that, like, just so disrespected you, in the wake of that. It just it kind of, like you said, it showed you, like, white supremacy is a powerful drug, man. You know what I'm saying? It's a powerful thing. And to say, like, you know, when I was like, oh, this, to not acknowledge, like, all the people that came behind to support you or came and had your back and defended you, and to say, like, to dismiss those people, it's weird. It's weird. You know what I'm saying?
Super.
It's what, like you said, it's white supremacy. We do have a quick blackmail. If you all want to get into that. It's from Kathy. It's funny because the subject matter is Charlemagne with these question marks, but, like, the way it looks, it's almost like when
Webby was trying to
when Soulja Boy was like, Drake, Charlemagne. So this is Kathy. She says, first and foremost, I love your show.
Thank you, Kathy.
I look forward to it every week. Right.
Hey.
Thank you. She says, I don't understand why intelligent, educated people with significant followings like yourselves, I mean, come on, like, give it up to us, right? Joy Reid and Abby Phillips continue to give charlatans and coons a platform to spew lies about black people, promoting stereotypes, downplaying the importance of this election, and claiming Trump and Biden are the same. The Breakfast Club has paid millions of dollars by white people to keep black people ignorant. You know what I'm saying? Charlemagne and the HNIC gladly cashing these checks. We don't need to hear from Candace Owens, Byron Douglas, or Charlemagne. Your show is much better than this.
Thank you,
okay,
Kathy.
so we agree.
That's a call in. I love it.
That our show is better. But do we agree? Because Charlemagne has come under a lot of attack for coming out and saying that he is not endorsing Biden. You know what I'm saying?
People are up. And here's the thing. I would have been like, go ahead, was Kathy Kieran?
Kathy, yeah.
I would have been like, go ahead, Kathy. Had we not said 6 months ago, we are not happy for Biden.
Yes.
We have said this for months, and there has been no change from the DNC.
Well, there's been a change, Miracle.
James,
they had a concert.
Just theory.
Did you not see?
I think that there is a disconnect. A part of me is like, yes, Charlemagne is getting money. He probably has some conservative backers. I get all of that.
Yes.
But what I also get is when constituents are saying there is a disconnect, there is a problem, I am suffering, I am hurting, your policies are not resonating with me.
Yes.
The issue isn't to be like, yes, they are. And if you're not cheering them on, you don't. People are saying, we are not fearing, we are not feeling, we are not seeing, we're not experiencing the benefits of these policies.
Right.
And so your messaging has to be, okay, you're not feeling it. I hear you.
Yes.
I feel your pain. This is like the one time where I think people should bring out Clinton, Bill Clinton.
Yes.
This is the one time where he could actually be of use and service to be like, I feel your pain. I hear you.
Was definitely a feel your pain.
I think this is where he is needed, or even Michelle, somebody who is good at the people part of an election. Yeah. Because people are still suffering. We're talking about deportations being up, evictions have been the highest they've been since pre-COVID.
Biden just proposed this executive order around immigration that a lot of the people who voted for him felt like, wow, we voted for you because you were going to protect, you know, folks. And now you're doing this thing at the border where a lot of those same folks are saying, you know, folks that work with the undocumented community, the dreamers and all those. Now they feel like, again, here's another policy that's alienating another group of people to help put Biden in office.
And we keep saying, like, conservatives can't flip votes. We've seen with Obama that conservatives will go Republican. Very rarely do Democrats go Republican.
Right.
And so our messaging isn't to be conservative to get conservatives out. Our message is to lean into the progressives, give them what they want so that we can engage and door knock and talk about how these policies benefit everyone.
Absolutely.
Whether you like it or not, the Build Back Better Act that did all of this investment in construction, a lot of people like the benefits of that
including
progressive
these
bill.
Republicans that voted against
And then
it.
when that happens, we can say, this is what happens when you elect Biden. This is what we're doing. So instead, you do this harmful things. And when somebody dies, now it's Biden's face that we can have to associate with it.
True.
When there's things happening at the border, now it's Biden's face.
Absolutely.
And it's going to backfire. And I don't understand.
When we find out that these missiles that are being used by Israel are missiles that were United States missiles,
barcodes and cities and everything.
Right, we know like Biden was the one that facilitated it. So his face becomes the face of all of these negative things. Y'all 100% right.
And that's what we're calling out for. Do I like Charlemagne? Not my fave.
Me neither.
I try not to say, Candace's give her any attention.
She's horrible.
So I do agree with that. But I do think that, again, as James Baldwin said, out of love, you have to critique. This is our country. These are our elected officials.
Yes.
And so we have to critique those as we're engaging and getting ready for November. We can't just lie to folks.
Yes, absolutely. Out of love, we must critique. I like that. And I do find it weird that Charlemagne became like the spokesperson for Black people. It's weird because it's like, I would much rather it be the main event, Miracle. I'd much rather it be somebody more intelligent and more articulate around these issues instead of Charlemagne. So that is weird. Any other comments on our blackmail?
Thank you for writing in.
Thank you. Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah, no, we appreciate that. I think
our show is better.
Yeah, I mean, all shows are going to have a different what's the different viewership, different base. So people are going to look at the different things, and I think like with the Breakfast Club and other platforms like that, they have a more popular culture one. So a lot they kind of rely on hot button topics and kind of things at the moment to keep their streams moving. So while I agree with you, it's different strokes for different folks.
Absolutely. So let's get to our white pages. My white pages today is Angela Davis. Are prisons obsolete?
Hell of a book for a hell of a topic.
Hopefully not the one they're going to put Donald Trump and the January 6th in.
What if Trump and Biden shared the same jail?
Trump and Hunter Biden shared the same cell.
That would be crazy.
Well, Hunter Biden got federal charges.
Yeah.
Well, Trump is up for federal charges.
He is.
So that would what would happen if they're in the same jail?
That's what I'm saying. Like, what if you put them in jail together?
Do they become like the Crips and Bloods inside? You know what I'm saying? Which side are you on, the Biden or the Trump side? That would be crazy. You had something, Miracle? So Angela Davis, one of our favorites, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to her. Our prisons obsolete. Our white pages for the day. Final comments? Something happening?
We have Juneteenth coming up.
Yes.
Things, but before that, I just wanted to give our condolences to the Musa family. One of the people who have supported our podcast this whole entire since our launch suffered a loss, and we just wanted to give our condolences and just share our love and support, and just thank y'all for being supporters of the podcast.
Absolutely.
And just give our love, prayers at this time to y'all.
Absolutely. Also, we lost Valerie Dixon, a long time supporter and fighter for anti-violence initiatives in the city. She was a long time part of BPAP, somebody that I knew very well. So Valerie Dixon, did a lot for this city, and we also say rest in power to you as well. You did mention Juneteenth. We do have our Art as Liberation coming up June 18th. Get your tickets to the Pirates game, and you can engage with Black visual artists inside the stadium. We're going to have a very special rendering of the national anthem of our own brother. Manny's doing the national anthem. So, it's going to be a time. So, and then we also have an announcement coming up soon. It's about to go down at One Hood. Yeah,
I'm so excited.
We doing it. We doing it big. Any final comments? Closing comments?
Never lose sight.
Never lose sight.
I'm going to go crazy when we make this announcement.
Yes. I see what you did there.
Yes. Oh,
yeah.
So till next time, we'll see y'all next week. This week in White Supremacy. Peace, y'all. One Hood.